gallery or galley is it's on fire on its own, but the flames that rise up across the ship don't actually seem to consume much. It's almost as though as soon as they're beginning to like burn up anything of size, Kieran just kind of turns an eye towards it, and the flames begin to like snuff where they were burning. And that doesn't stop the damage from new cannon fire that is continually hitting the galley. The Kieran ship is in of itself designed as a boarding vessel, so it's designed to be large and carry a large crew, but it doesn't have much in the way of cannons on it because they need that space for galley oars. And it specifically possesses a tactical advantage when there's not much wind to be had, but it is a sitting duck when it is anchored, and it is still anchored. And the chaos that is going on above deck is matched by the chaos that's going on below deck. Honorine kind of finds herself with a cut from to remember her cousin by. And at the same time, everybody can hear Jemay shouting that it's time to go. Gav has chains that have been literally ripped out of the wall, and various members of the crew that are quickly kind of yanking them out. He sees like one or two of the crew members who are definitely former Vestin raiders throwing chains around the necks of some of the interested slavers and hauling them tight enough to even if they're not like choked out, they are still having like their windpipes crushed, their necks caught. As Gris, who has like a couple of pieces of shrapnel from one of the first cannon shots, buried in her sides and leaning heavily on Runa to get to where Jemay is keeping a portal open. And Jemay opens it, and one by one, people are beginning to leap back through to return. I don't recall. Did Hans go through the portal or no? He did
No,
not, right? Okay,
he's
that's what I
kind of
thought.
standing by outside.
Um, yeah, they knew they were going to have limited space to bring people back, and it's a strange thing as you re-enter the tunnel because you can hear everybody else's breathing for a few moments before the actual like sounds of inside of the tunnel, the sort of like wet reverberation of footsteps, the voices that speak to everybody. Um, then the and our camera sort of pulls away from that harrowed few seconds where everybody's kind of coming back through the portal and returning into Eisen, and it goes back to the deck of the ship, where Kierdian's eyes are fixed on the ship which is approaching, so much so that he utterly misses the soft footsteps of a man coming up behind him. Um, he also misses, up until the moment that it happens, the sound of a blade being drawn, and then the tip of that blade plunging through his back, going through his heart, emerging out of his chest. The surprise that crosses his features as he drops to his knees, um, and puts a hand over where like the blade has emerged. He looks over his shoulder in fury to where a dark-haired Fadachi man watches him die with a sort of detached interest in what's happening. Kieran speaks to him in Crescent and says, "Death will not stop me." Um, and the man who is standing over him smiles to himself and says, "I know." Then our camera cuts back, and the open portal inside of the bear house has people suddenly spilling out of it. Who was the first one that kind of went back in and thus emerged out? I think it was probably Honorine because she was the closest to where Jemay was when she arrived. But yay, nay?
Uh,
Uh,
I'll be first.
Okay. So Hans and Len and Rosa and Gerard wasn't there at the time. They see Honorine emerge, blood kind of covering part of her dress from where she was stabbed. The um, and
Did she not get hit?
no,
no,
she took a flesh
Charlotte
wound, I
stabbed
thought.
her.
Ah,
Yeah. Um, and I think right after that is probably going to be Runa and Gris. Um, Gris looking a little harrowed by her first trip through a Porte gate. I kind of imagine since there wasn't time to explain and all of the chaos and everybody's ears are ringing and stuff like that, Runa just covered her eyes the whole way and sort of
yes.
dragged her along.
She is like holding her, and like holding her up, but also like
Yeah, and she felt her like thrash a few times, apparently alarmed by whatever she was hearing and not familiar enough with Porte magic to know like what to do. Um, and then last with Gav coming through with Jamie, who the moment she gets through sits down heavily and leans back against a wall.
thank you.
Um, and she nods and I think one of them hit me.
Let me see.
Um, and when Runa looks, she sees like she's been cut from like shoulder to hip by a scimitar that must have been coming at her right as she was diving through the portal.
Is that a dramatic one?
It's two.
I'm gonna take one.
Um,
And I think Runa would take inventory and like do her surgeon doctor thing, but also like she's taking the wound from Janae because like she kind of in like return. It's like you did a thing you could do, you put yourself in danger. Camaraderie, you know?
yeah. Um, and she's definitely like she says, first rule of Porte, don't travel wounded. And she looks particularly pale. And there's a lesser degree of it for Honorine as well, that like basically she feels like she lost a lot of blood in the area. Does that make sense? Um, and she has it's actually like the boning of her corset that probably saved her. She didn't really have time to change or whatnot. Or no, they had changed to like they'd gotten a hold of like the necklaces and stuff like that from to pose as Kazi Crescent lookalikes.
I was gonna ask that, actually. I was gonna ask about that. I think it might be wise to retcon Honorine using the disguise, because otherwise I don't know why Charlotte would have been like, you ruined everything, stab.
I think I didn't so actually here's what I'm going to do is that like they had them in place and what they didn't know is the moment they stepped through those devices seemed to be disabled for a time after having emerged through a porte gate. So by the time they kind of came through, chaos was happening all around them. Because there was a plan and it was a good plan. It just, I did space it by the time we were at the end of things and timing was very tight. So, um, so she had attempted to go for a gut wound though. Honorine had asked about where she was stabbing, and she went straight for the bowels, looking for something that was going to cause a very long and painful death. She didn't get that chance, but
Sucks
Why
to
does
suck,
this bitch
bitch.
hate you so much?
That's a long story.
Apparently.
Also, it's okay that we lost her. Runa can find her.
um,
I will find you, and someone else will kill you. Because that's not for me to do.
um, And there's, like as Runa's kind of like having the thought, like, it's fine, I can find her. She finds like her attention like flicks and is like zooming as though had just used it again. Does that make sense? And then suddenly she feels her mom's like arm on her forearm squeezing and brings her back. And Ingvild looks at her and she's like, focus. And gestures back to where she had been treating Jemay, and Gris is sitting next to her. Um, and the entire upper bear house is kind of covered with bleeding people to various degrees. Is Gav treating Honorine? Is that what's happening now?
Yeah. Between treating Honorine and getting Hans to fetch clean water, some wine probably, because I have a feeling somebody's gonna want wine, at least one of them. But yeah, just medical attention, and then Gab, carefully unties her corset to take a look at the wound itself.
And Kazi, who's still there, he kneels down next to Bruna and he kind of offers like a small bag and says, these herbs are helpful in preventing infections.
Thank you. She's obviously she's going to be tending to both Jemay and Gris, but obviously one at a time.
There's a there's plenty of time to do the necessary like medical rolls and everything like that. And I think in that kind of quiet, intense aftermath, Gris she looks to Ingvild, to Runa, and it seems like for the very first time that she realizes that she's like not in run and flight mode. She's in fact away from the ship. And she bursts into sudden tears and just kind of like, while Runa's in the middle of trying to like doctor her, she just grabs her and squeezes her and hugs her tight.
Runa's gonna hug her back. She was probably at a point of healing of like stitching her up where it's like she's not gonna get an infection if she's like in contact with things. So she's just gonna hug her back. You're safe now.
Yeah, and she kind
As
of
safe as you can be in Freeburg.
she pulls back and she dips her head and the rest of the crew, do we know what's
Runa like kind of slow turns to her mom. Hang on, I have the notes of who's still alive.
she's probably referring to the people that were on the ship with her, like as in the others who were just sort of like general crew members, General Vest, and people that had also been sold into slavery and stuff like that. Jemay kind of just, I don't think going to retrieve anymore is going to be possible with this injury.
But we can at least hope that they made it out. Because we did like release all of them, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool. I thought so.
I rolled crazy high to rip those chains off.
Yeah, I think Gav kind of probably still has one little like length of chain without realizing it in hand.
It's the stern of hand, so he doesn't notice.
And
as he's leaning over Honorine, like kind of she's like yanking away like the amulet and shit. Like she's like, gets the fuck off of me. And she's like, you can probably let that go now. To Gav, pointing at his sterneth hand.
Oh, duh. How are you feeling? Is it, he's checking the wound, making sure it's like you seem to have lost a lot of blood.
That seems to be true. That happens. It's Porte.
Where was Charlotte? Gab wasn't there when it happened. He was
Yeah, she's
further
like,
on in the galley.
she was tied up. She was imprisoned in a cell. We couldn't bring her back with us.
Are we able to find her, do you think? Do you think she ended up in Freiburg?
We can find her. We'll find her. If nothing else, she'll show her face. She tried to kill me.
I can see. I was wondering how that happened.
It happened with Charlotte and her stupid blade that she carries everywhere with her. I feel very lucky that she didn't happen to slice a little to the left.
We are all so lucky.
She tried to, and Honorine looks at Jemay, like, as she says this, like, kind of locks eyes with Jemay, as she adds, like, she tried to pull me halfway through a portal.
And Jemay, she makes a face and she says, I've seen what happens.
I'm sure she has too.
It's an unkind death. And she leans forward and Runa, having just kind of finished pulling Runa pulled the injury from Jemay, but one of the things that she's kind of like realizing in the mid-tending was like there was something else, something other than the injury. And she realizes Jemay isn't showing signs of it yet, but she's infected. Runa could feel that with her sympathetic magic.
Like infected with the white plague?
Yes.
No. Okay.
Look at me, Siosa. I will kill you.
She knows where you live.
She does.
She does.
She knows your wife too.
Yes.
Sindric did him. I'm kidding. She
So she isn't, I don't know if she's interrupting, but like Honorine's going to continue her conversation? Question mark?
Runa is politely waiting for Gav to finish patching on Arena.
So,
Actually, she's gonna. Are there any like smaller and other small like rooms in the theater?
there are places that she can take somebody downstairs.
Probably like dressing rooms and stuff.
Yeah, there's the dressing rooms. Gerard has asked if he's present in this conversation. No, he wasn't present at the time that it happened. I think he's been completely caught up in his duties as a captain.
He can probably show up though. Like I think we sent out a summons or something for him.
Yeah, I think likely what's happened is that he's late because there's just been like enough of since the most common summons go out through the kids of Felix's gang. They don't have the best relationship with the guards at most of the bridges. And so the one that was going to reach Gerard has just been delayed. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to drop the curtain on our cold open here. Is Runa taking honoring away or taking Jamais somewhere else?
She's getting them both to go with her. Well, we've already been near Jamais, is the thing.
You have her blood on your hands, so
yeah. So she's gonna bring them both to the dressing room.
Okay.
Just so that it's not like with everyone, hey, you have the plague. Because that
telling her before she goes back to her household full of young sorceresses.
Yep.
Okay. So now that we've had it established, I'm gonna door cold open, or I'm gonna drop our curtain on the cold open. I'm gonna run us through our introductions, and then we'll cut over to where Gerard has been and what he's been doing, and we'll get back to these conversations after that. Is that okay? I, of course, don't have that open, but thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Shadow of the Wachtturm. Our producer tonight is one of the moderators of Dirty 20 Gaming, the delightful and compassionate Gloriosa. Our lore master for the series is the beautiful and benevolent Syndra. Before we get started, I want to give a content warning. While the spirit of Seventh Sea is swashbuckling adventure and shadowy intrigue, the story will deal with mature themes, not intrusive thoughts, mature themes, including death, loss, suicide, and grief. Tonight's episode may be particularly heavy because we're going to see the aftermath of a plague that has hit Freeburg. Eisen, our setting, is recovering from a 30-year civil war over religious differences. It may get dark sometimes, and there's no shame in bowing out if it's not a place your head can go at the moment. So without further ado, I'm going to have our savvy swashbucklers introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with Honorine, because she's in my upper left corner. That makes things easy for me.
Hello. I am Blaze of Gloriosa, better known here as Glory. I produce on this channel 2 nights a week on alternate Wednesdays for our Masks a New Generation game, Oracle Force. The next session is not this coming Wednesday, but the one after. We just had one. And Oracle Force is really interesting. I don't play a character in it, but I get to watch all of like these teenage superheroes run around making poor decisions and then blaming each other for them. So it's a good time. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy producing for it. And it has, if I do say so myself, a really nice overlay. I also produce on Thursdays for our City of Mist campaign, Deviant Paradox. You can also catch me in front of the camera one night a week on my own channel streaming things, probably still Graveyard Keeper. And then tonight, as Honorine really wishes Gerard would come get this bitch, cease to cease.
Anything without me.
She's our noblewoman in the crew who has spent more time in the sewer than the sewer surf and suplex machine. So speaking of which, let's go to Gav.
That's me. Hi. I am Bison _Stonefist. I am a longtime player of this channel. I'm here 3.5 nights a week. Tonight I am going to talk about Thursdays. Thursdays is Deviant Paradox. It is City of Mists-ish. And it is a lot of fun. In that game, I play Garrett. His mythos / voice in his head is Grendel from the epic Beowulf. And it is probably the most like relationship drama show we have. Like, I call it our CW show because that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm watching Vampire Diaries or something. And I'm part of it. It's a lot of fun.
Fridays are coming for you.
I know. Well, because Fridays are we have Thursdays at home, and I will stick to that. And yeah, so let's go over to Bat Kyle as he processes what I just said to him.
Hi, I'm Bat Kyle. Fuck you, Bison. You can find me here on Sundays playing Len, in this fantastic, we would drag ourselves on bloody stumps over hot coals to make this game wonderfulness that is Shadow of the Wachtturm. We've said it before. I know Cios has said it before, but he put this game together with the idea that people would be able to drop out and not show up when they needed and be written in and out of the story. And we all showed up and we all stayed. So miscalculation was made there, and we're very happy about it. Besides that, you can find me running Everyday Divinity on Fridays, which I think is going better because our characters actually talk to each other, and none of them try to control the narrative. So with that, since like there are a lot of places I could throw it that might still seem a little pointed after that, let's go over to Shadow.
Hello, everybody. I am Shadow, also known as the True Shadowmancer. Tonight I am playing Gerard Saint Germain de Bolt, resident swordsman, bearer of vendettas, and trying to figure out how the hell he keeps getting left behind whenever there's a fight. On alternating, don't point at me like that. On alternating Wednesdays, you can find me playing Alan Tiberius Miller, also known as Tibbs, the Mopok bard, self-proclaimed king of the roads. This game is run by our lovely Hellhounds 20. Takes place in the Humblewood setting, which is a great, lovely setting. You play, well, let's just call it what it is. It's furry central. So come watch us play some Humblewood yourself, have a ball. And with that, I'm going to go down to the cackling hyena herself. Yes, you, Sarah.
You're muted.
Yep, I realized it while I started to talk. Love you, Shadow, and thank you, Bison, for the compliment. Hey y'all, my name is Sarah. I go by Sans on the Discord. I am on this channel 5.5 nights a week, but tonight I will be talking about our Monday games, I should say, because we have 2 on that day. Of Pandora's Gift. I am in the Pandora's Gift Nightcast, but we have people here who are in the Daycast as well. And it, as Kevin calls it, it is the same story, same page of notes, 2 completely different parties. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm part of the party that doesn't talk at all. I don't know how. When I'm not here, you can find me over on Tango Productions working with the Scarred Adventurer and Rock Paper Fox on stuff and things that'll come out eventually. Let's give it over to Hans, as he's also in Nightcast with me.
This is a true and real fact. Hello, everybody. My name is Rory. I am playing the aforementioned Hans Reifenstahl, the sprinting, slashing soldier boy of the party. I'm gonna tell you guys about the game that we have on Tuesdays, because that's a pretty cool game. Run by the incredibly creative and hardworking True Shadowmancer. It's I believe a 30 years in progress Dungeons and Dragons world-ish, 30-ish years. But it's probably the richest world that I've ever seen. It's insane. We have
Love watching
so
that
much
show
detail.
just for the
It's
lore.
incredible. Like if you're one of the D&D players that's like custom everything and super deep lore, rich world building, like every NPC has a meaning to the game, check it out, because we are like still just barely scratching the surface of what we have to find, and it's a really cool world to explore and to learn about. I play one of 2 really cool cat monk twins. Play Ashik, one of the 2 Balam monks. So yeah, tune in for monk shenanigans, and awesome amount of lore. And I think the only person remaining is the other cat monk twin in that game. So Ruth, it's your turn.
Hi, I'm Ruth. I am also here 5.5 nights a week, but today I am here today as Runa Ingvild's daughter, starting off strong with a little doom. Just a taste.
Appetizer doom.
Sorry, I got distracted. I will be talking about our Friday game, Everyday Divinity, run by, I was gonna call you the lovely Bat Kyle, and then that felt too nice. But we love Bat Kyle. We love to hate him. On Everyday Divinity, you can see him take his players through a wild ride with some insane descriptions that you'll usually see Kevin and I laughing at, which is wonderful. A wicked horror game that has been made in his little cauldron. And my neurons are firing. Come watch Kyle do evil shit to his players. And don't worry about us. We're exactly where we want to be.
And occasional hedgehog-based violence.
Yeah. Yeah, but it probably will happen again, Glory.
Don't let your dreams stay dreams.
That is all from me.
Does that mean that we're back to me?
Back to you in the studio.
All right. I am Ziosa, and I run this game on Sundays, and unfortunately, I don't have the time to be doing anything else right now. I wish I could hop in and play something else or run something the second night, but fortunately, work demands too much of my time, so blame capitalism. But I am on the Discord. You can find me there. Other than that, I'm allergic to social media, so that's going to be the only place that you can find me. Hopefully. Let me hop us back in. In the ancient days of Numa, the great storyteller and philosopher Sarah's the Wiser once noted that adventure can only begin in one of three ways: by death, by slur, or by letter. To begin without one of these incitements is folly, a tobacco best described as an indiscretion, a dalliance, an escapade. But fear not, we begin tonight properly girded with death, the most inescapable of the three, and thus the most powerful. And we cut over to Gerard, who is actually not in, he's not in Vinerherd at the moment. He has been called over to the playground. And the captain of the guard over there, he's well known to be in practically the direct employ of Bertold Brutzmann, who's the head of like the school that consumes most of the district, right? It's the most like noted academy in Freiburg, but also over in that area is the former fortification that has been converted to a jail, and his presence had been requested there. And as he arrives at the jail, he sees that there is clearly like the aftermath of a jailbreak. The jailbreak was clearly ill-conceived. As in they might have had the necessary manpower and whatnot to like overpower the few guards that were kept in the jail, but not to keep from an alert from being sent up. And they're literally across a bridge from the Drakken's the main basically barracks of the military of the city. And when the Wakund was kind of like notified that there was a breakout from the prison, they didn't really ask a lot of questions. And so Gerard, as like the captain of Feinhard, he's been called over. The captain of the uh, the playground is there as well. And when Gerard arrives and kind of looks down at like the bodies, there's one amongst them that he recognizes almost immediately. And that is the body of Adrian Mueller, who's the captain that Hans replaced, who was once a friend of Gerard's, who was the one who invited him here in the first place.
Rest in peace, mon friend.
Say that again.
Rest in peace, mon ami.
The captain of the guards of he's older. He has kind of like an ex-professor vibe from like the actual academy itself. And he says this was the ringleader, the one who organized the escape.
And you know this how?
Because if there was any trouble in this jail, I could usually trace it back to Adrian. He shakes his head. He says, most of these men were being kept here because there was no place to go if they were released. They'd already served what sentences they might. He says, but with the plague everywhere, he says, we weren't letting one out. He used that to convince them to try to make their way out through force.
Did anyone escape?
He says, we'll have to compare the number of bodies we have here to the number of people we should have.
Is that to be a wise idea? Because this looks to me more like a diversion than a true escape attempt.
He says, if you want to take a look through the rest of the jail, see if there's any other spaces they might have escaped to. If they managed to get a few dozen more meters into Verzweiflung, then they could have easily gone to ground. They'd never have been found there.
Yes, this would be a good idea. If you do not mind, I will look around and see what I can see.
He kind of gestures to the rest of the jail. He says, everyone else here, he says, is here for petty crimes, pickpocketing, the like. He says, with the most dangerous offenders, he kind of gestures to the ground around where there are probably like 4 or 5 dozen bodies here. And if I just am pointing this out for Gav's sake, if Margot had been here in the prison, she would have died during this breakout. And I'm mentioning that because of the whole Black Strand business, but that's just a sort of out of character aside. Gerard can go ahead and make an investigative roll if you'd like. You can use enforcer or criminal to do so along with your wits.
Yeah, I have neither one of those, so the closest I have is strategist, so this will just be a straight wits.
Yep. Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah, he manages to find like a couple of like nooks and bolts and stuff like that of like, places prisoners have managed to like scrape out a rock and like hide some stuff. For the most part, it's small pleasures, pouches of tobacco, kind of whatever they can do to buy the time. But the thing is like jail is not really a permanent solution in most cases at this time. Does that make sense? Like you tend to either you go to the gallows or you get like a fee or something served to you fairly quickly. This is a very economically driven city and it's expensive to house people and give them food without any kind of work. So they try to avoid doing it. Adrian was one of the few people who'd been sentenced for a really long time. Um, and that was because he was like on the cuff of like, we don't really know if we're comfortable executing him. Because for the most part, what he did was corruption, which is sort of like a thing all guards do. Um, and out of the hopes that he might be willing to turn on some of his associates, because he was known to be involved with the slavery ring that was like through Freiburg. So part of it was just an ongoing pressure of like, yeah, sure, if you want to get out, just talk. But the other thing that he finds as he's going through is that like it looks like to Gerard's eyes, he really did convince them to do this for his own sake. Like he might have promised money or something like that. It doesn't look like there was a distraction because the rest of the jail is really solid.
And can I make my way to his cell?
Yeah.
I want to check that for any of these little hidden.
So the issue is that like most of there were no individual cells. Does that
Right.
make sense? So it's
Mhm.
kind of like a working on how well you know your friend. Does that make sense? And places that he might have staked out and used violence or the threat of it to be like, don't go in my spot. This is my spot. Um, because at most this place could probably house 40 or 50 people. So that's why they don't put a lot of people into it for a long time. It's a city of 700,000.
Right. What
Uh,
what I'm looking for is any kind of indicator of why he did this, because this doesn't feel right. My gut instinct is something else is going on here.
um, the 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 sense as you're kind of going through everything, um, the thing that you find is the as you kind of like going through his area and stuff like that, you do eventually find where he's created like uh, a it's not like a soap bar, it's more like just a soft piece of clay. Does that make sense? Something that when Gerard finds it and he manages to kind of like dust it off, he realizes that there's like it's a covering and that inside of it is like a key inset. So he basically got a hold of a key long enough that he could make something that he could later produce a copy from, maybe carve it from wood or something like that. This kind of thing would take literal weeks to execute. Um, and Adrian, for everything else that he was intimidating and persuasive. So he's clearly got like the workings of a plan, but there's nothing in this area that's suggestive of like what might have driven him to do this now.
Is it possible that what I am looking at, rather than being a mold to make a key, is something that a key itself was hidden in?
Um, no, because so you know how you have like the kind of ring that people use to actually turn the key, and then the
Yeah.
mold that is so he has it only around the actual part that needs to be like shaped. Does that make sense? If he
Yeah.
was trying to hide it completely, he would hide the entire thing inside of it.
Right. So this is just the teeth of a key.
Hmm.
Okay. Something still feels off, but I can't find what it is.
Yeah. I will give him one more thing as he's doing investigation and searching and stuff like that when he kind of goes back to the body and does kind of there's a little bit of like disrespect to it to like search the body itself, but he does find that it looks like there was a letter on him. The problem is now it's stained crimson throughout.
soaked up his blood. But I will take the letter if they will let me.
Yeah, the other captain kind of looks at it. He's like, if you make anything heads or tails of it.
That is what I'm going to try to do. There are a couple of things that I have heard of that might work.
He nods. And he looks out over the city, and he shivers for a moment. He says, "It's strange seeing it this quiet."
But hopefully the sounds of the city will return soon. If you need me for anything, please let me know.
He says, "Of course." And he gives a little bit of a smile. There's definitely sort of like I think Rod being Montaigne and being used to a society in which I would say like the affections of men are much more accepted in a general level. He definitely has the impression that the other captain is sort of giving him a once over. Does that make sense? Like, or at least like looking appreciatively. But he's also come to the understanding that in Eisen it's a little bit more restricted. Does that make sense? Like, it's just not as openly accepted.
He's giving me the covert eye.
Yeah, he's just sort of, appreciatively looking Gerard over, but it's definitely not like the time or the vibe or the place to like make any kind of a pass.
Tip my hat and I will move on.
And a little bit just kind of like as that's happening, one of the men comes up to the other captain. And he says, "We have a kid in custody who was trying to sneak past the bridge." And the captain kind of like raises an eyebrow and like a Gerard can hear like a younger kid shout like, "I have a message for Captain Gerard. I ain't no smuggler. I'm just using my own boat because it's faster."
Make my way that direction. I am Captain Jumaine.
Yeah, and one of the like other guards has a small canoe that's like pulled up to the water's edge, and he's kind of like holding up what are definitely some items that look like they might be being smuggled across the water. But the kid is there, and he holds up a letter. He says, "They're looking for you in the bear house, the council."
Mercy, and I'll look at the guard that's holding up the items. Please return the young men's merchandise, and I flip him a coin.
Yeah, he looks to his own captain, and the captain just kind of like, he's not invested enough to be like, "Yeah, let it go." And Felix, or it's not Felix, it's another one of the kids in the gang, but he gives a nod of appreciation, snatches his stuff out of the guard's hand, and then very boldly reaches into one of his pockets for one of the things he had like taken from the kid's boat and hidden, and takes it back for himself and throws it in his boat and pushes it out onto the water.
And just to clarify, I flipped the coin to the boy, not to the guard.
Yeah, he took the coin. Sorry, I misheard that. I assumed that it's not beyond custom for guards to get paid for routine things like that. So,
oh, it's not beyond custom. Then I'll let his captain recompense him.
Fair enough. And the other captain kind of, I'll send word to the North Bridge. He says, "Although we do have a few rowboats, if you'd rather take that way, that you can requisition."
Down to the young lad. Can you get me to the Rojas quickly?
He kind of looks Rod up and down, and then looks at his canoe and seems to like weigh the coin that he has and how much more he stands to make. He's like, "All right, but I ain't responsible for no colds." So,
I would not hold you responsible for such.
He says, well, it's going to be low in the water with you in it. And that doesn't seem like a, personal thing. It's just like, it is designed for a kid.
If that seems safe, I will take them up on it. If not, I will find another way.
It's probably something where the moment he's beyond the river to like beyond Der Wachtturm into Flucifer, rather than going all the way down the river, it's like, no, you can just drop me off here because there's a couple close calls.
I'm good with that.
At which point, he can make his way to the bear house and kind of, I think, arriving at the end of some of the chaos that we saw earlier. His late arrival because the person who was dispatched to send him got held up by the authorities. So
when he delivers me, I'll hand him 5 more coins, and as I depart, and just a wee bit more caution going past that particular district for a while. And
he
I
nods.
Arthur's accent for a moment.
Yeah, and he kind of he says, "Hey, before you go," he says, "Bark from the magic tree." He says, "Down in south." He says, "Supposed to make you," says, "immune to the plague." Says, "For you, only 25 gilda."
I appreciate the praise. What I have a direct source. Let me see.
And he looks like for a moment like he's going to consider trying to like talk you into like selling him some of the direct source, and then seems to consider the better measure of valor to be to withdraw, since he is talking to a guard captain who's already built him out of one shenanigan.
There's only so much room that you can push your luck.
Does probably give Gerard a mental note to like make sure that none of the reserves have fallen off of any wagons.
I also have my suspicions that it's not actual bark from the tree, so.
Yeah, but it's good to verify just in case.
Right. All right, I make my way to the bear garden. At the end of this chaos.
All right. So I want to cut over to where Runa, Honorine, and Jamae are in a room, so that Runa can kind of spill whatever news she is ready to.
I don't know how like gentle she'd be about it. I think she'd like bring them both into the room, look to Jamae and go, "You have the white plague. She's a doctor to her core, and you gotta tell them straight."
She says, "And I've traveled through a gate," she says, "and been injured."
This is not a death sentence. Not if I can help it.
She nods. I won't risk returning to the townhouse, though.
I can get you a room in the academy.
She nods. She says, I can stay here. I don't object to going to the hospital either."
And I don't know if Honorine has been like by the hospital, like to see kind of what state it's in, like whether it's crowded and awful or
Runa's kind of out of those 2 options, it would be best for you to stay here.
And she nods and she says, it'll probably be a few days before we know how advanced it is, yes?
Yes. But care will start now.
She nods.
Honoring's gonna hug her aunt like really, really tight.
And she does look like she's gonna try to like pull back for a minute, you know what I'm saying? But she returns it and she gives her a quick squeeze and she says that has to be the last of those for a while. She says, if someone could get me some writing instruments and some paper. And she kind of like sits down on a bench in the costume area and just.
I don't know if you realize that Honorine is still hugging.
Jamae kind of like she squeezes her and she says, "You're injured too."
I mean, I know that.
She says, "We'll do no good if both to our family if both of us catch this."
As they're having their moment, Runa's gonna go get
Their moment.
Well, because she's just the bearer of bad news here, and probably like going to be here every day to take care of Shimei. But it's like they are family, so she's just gonna go get the writing utensils and let them talk.
And Honorine is going to say to Jamae, I can send Rosa to keep you company for a few, often she's had the plague, she's survived it.
She's recovered.
And Brandy,
She says that would be lovely.
Company too.
She smiles.
If you can handle her.
I suspect I'll be able to. She and she looks like she's having 1,000 thoughts about it. So, but none of it is coming out at the moment.
Once Runa is out of the room and they're kind of alone, she's gonna just sort of like kind of nudge her and be like, tell me.
She says, it just occurred to me, she says that I might not live long enough to see you married.
It hasn't been a priority.
She nods.
That's not all you were thinking.
She says, I'm thinking about everyone in the family. Says the things I'd hoped for them, the things I've resigned myself to.
Well, you'll never see Solange married, no matter how long you live. So I hope you already realize that.
You'll never see who married?
I just pulled a name out of nowhere. I just said Solange.
She kind of smiles and she says, if you had a match tomorrow, she says, and the choice to marry Anjay instead, which would you do?
I don't know. There doesn't seem much point in gathering resources to a family name that doesn't have any wealth or land.
She says, we have a wealth. She says, we have beautiful women of keen minds. Your
Yeah.
cousin, for all her flaws, she says, proved to be an exquisite businesswoman.
She hates me, Jimmy. I
She
mean,
nods.
not it's not it's intense. I didn't do anything to her.
She says, I've been thinking about it a lot since she stabbed me.
uh, she stabbed me too. Twinsies.
She kind of reaches and she takes like a piece of costuming off of something and she hands it to Honor and she says, wipe my blood off from your dress before you get yourself infected.
And she will. The least of my concerns right now.
She says, you've always been a little distant from your cousins, but you've never lacked for friends amongst them. She says, you've been different. She says, but I know all of them would count you a friend. She says, I know how many of them have asked me if they thought you would like something, she says, for Winterfest and what you might particularly like. Charlotte has been a bully since she was knee-high. And what she has envied more than your gifts is the fact that you were adopted and you were beloved by me and beloved by our family, and she felt that you took what she deserved. When the truth was, she never earned it.
Gerard said something the last time she came up. He said something really similar, but I don't. There's a loving enough family. There's enough to go around. I don't.
Says, but she has never sought that. She doesn't want the love of her peers. She wants to be above them. She wants to have authority over them.
Well, I think she misjudged sorely if she thought the way to do that was by running the kind of enterprise that she's run. My God.
She says when she had her presentation to court, I brought her into a smaller court very deliberately. She says rather than Charus, because I saw the way she idolized when I used my tongue to bring someone down. And at her presentation, she attacked anyone who showed the smallest hint of weakness. If she had been in Charus, we would have been ended. As it was, we had hostilities with other minor families for years that I worked to smooth over. She wanted what I had as well, but she didn't understand that my application of it was judicious.
I think you have to have empathy to have what you have. I think you have to assume that other people don't have the same weaknesses as you do. I don't think Charlotte has that.
She has many gifts, she says, but he is not amongst them.
No.
She closes her eyes for a minute. I do not understand something. She says, if getting hit by a sword hurts this badly, why do men train all their lives with this?
Ugh. I
You
don't-
see, in Eisen, we start young with smaller knives. We build up an immunity.
That is the whole purpose of training, so you don't get hit by them.
Are you
Yeah,
in
but-
pain?
Oh, she says very much.
Meanwhile, Leekstra, training to not get hit with them. Leekstra, you're getting hit with them until you get hit.
I think oh god. I think that if Charlotte had worked at building strong connections as diligently as she worked on her swordness, I think she would have been a formidable member of our house, and instead she's just oh, well, I'm sorry you got stabbed.
Sliced, I think. And she kind of looks at her shoulder and then immediately looks like she regrets the attempt.
I'm sorry you got sliced.
So we're going to cut from there with Honorine and Jabé having caught up a little. I think Gerard is just now kind of like arriving, Rosa and Len and Hans are kind of the ones who aren't currently occupied, so probably the ones catching Gerard up and what's happened.
Yeah, so the boat was on fire when Runa saw it, and so they had to go. Yes.
Roll that back. What boat was on fire?
The Crescent Galley,
Is it
That-
Crescent Galley?
yeah, it was a Crescent Galley. I can't remember the slaver's name, even though you said it earlier. Hirden. His boat, the Scourge of whatever he's the Scourge of. I'm sure he calls himself the Scourge of at least one thing. They were under fire by a ship of the line while at port. And Charlotte was chained up in a room. Looks like she'd been tortured a bit, so yay for that.
Let me clarify.
Yeah.
A Crescent Galley and a ship at the time. So you were not here.
No, this was Runa used her one of her runes to see what was happening. And then Jemay used Porte to take Runa, Honorine, and Gav to the boat to rescue Runa's second mother.
She's there.
Gris.
She's there.
I thought you
Gris,
were with.
yeah, Gris
Runa
waves.
had to deliver Doom.
Well,
Well, I'm telling the story anyway.
yeah, well, but when Gerard looks over, he sees both Ingvild, who's Runa's mother, the one-eyed one, who occasionally makes cryptic mutterings and prophecies, talking to Gris, who is a few years younger than Ingvild, but definitely kind of maternal. Gerard needs about 4 seconds of watching them together to realize, like, these are lovers reunited. Does that make sense?
Oh my god, they were roommates.
They were shipmates.
That's where Runa gets it from.
Nothing says you can't be roommates and lovers.
And,
Yes, you can.
and also that Gris is both like adapting to the fact that Ingvild is missing an eye, and also seems very different from the woman that like she remembers. So they're definitely sort of like having like a hushed conversation. Although Gris does kind of like look up and she like, during the explanation. She
Those
has
moms.
been she's been being treated by Runa. I love the idea that Runa is still blissfully ignorant of this despite her own.
She was a kid,
Yeah.
and
she's
then
just grown up
Ruin
with-
touched
l-
her.
Like they've just always been affectionate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're best
They're
friends
just really
like
good
that.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes best friends tell, a daughter to go to another room and put on some music and stay there for a while.
I mean,
Runa was a
and
nosy
definitely-
kid too. Her first fruit was Gateway. I can't believe she didn't know.
I think her mother like just very much understood that mystery was an important thing to have like available.
I mean, she did have all 24 mastered.
There is no rune right now though that like Runa does kind of like catch her two moms have always been very affectionate to each other, but I think maybe as an adult with like a little bit of time and distance, she realizes that like affectionate friends don't necessarily kiss on the mouth when they've been missing each other.
Yeah. And only really affectionate friends grab a little handful of ass when they do.
It's not quite like that. Gris is injured and whatnot, but there is definitely like a full-on like mouth-to-mouth kiss, and Runa can still kind of be oblivious to it or not.
She's grabbing writing supplies for Shimei right now.
Okay.
I believe.
Completely oblivious. Way
Yep.
funnier this way.
I
So
don't know
anyway-
how much time has passed here.
So they portate over to save Gris. They're over there. And from what I heard anyway, and seen when they came back, Charlotte seemed angry about being rescued, angry enough to try and stab Honorine in the liver, and then try and pull her into a porte gate and cut her in half, screaming something about "you ruin everything." So maybe we just really interrupted a pretty deep kink. I'm not certain for that, but either way, they rescued Gris, got the hell off the boat, and Charlotte is somewhere else again.
That answers question number 1.
Okay.
Question
question?
number 2. Where is Honorine?
She went off with Jemay. I think they had to have a private discussion. Interrupt at your own risk. I'm not saying don't risk it. I'm just
Pretty
making
much
sure
what
you
I
know.
was going to say.
Yeah. You might get portate out into the river. You might get set on fire just a little. Or they might just say we're done and they can talk. I really don't know at this point.
I do have
That's just
flaming
my-
serpents now.
That is my risk to take.
Yeah.
Which would is anyone else hurt?
Rosa just looks terrible.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
Gerard was there when Rosa was recovering. Like,
Was he?
Yeah, he was
'cause
there, yeah.
Everything with
Okay, I
Hans
remember.
happened just a little bit afterwards, so he
Yeah.
knows about
That's
Rosa
right,
having
yeah.
been sick.
And the unravel being taken out. So,
Yeah.
that's something.
I was there for the unraveling meeting.
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure.
What's the gap like between the little jaunt over to Charus and now? How long has it been since then? Just for context of how Hans looks.
I think
Didn't Gerard go to Charus with him? Oh wait, no, that was Kazi and Hans.
yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
man, I want to
Oh, and
say
Honorine.
Oh yes, Honorine was there too.
Yeah, you got the chunky salsa treatment.
they did the whole thing where they were getting the costumes ready and stuff like that. So Hans has had a few hours to rest and clean up and stuff like that.
It's been a
So-
bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
Um,
he's just sitting off to one side with a drink and kind of like a bit of a distant look.
And I would say ask Hans about what happened in Charus. But he might still need a little time to. You still need some time to process there, bud.
Process what?
The whole Charus
I
thing.
did not go. I can recount it.
Okay, you
But-
look like you were still dealing with it. That's
Oh. A drop in the bucket.
they dumped the bucket on you, bruh.
Gerard, we went to I took the freaking water portal to Charus, and I will sum it all up by saying my condolences for your homeland, as Charus is overrun with porte demons and a mad. Don't even know how to describe her. A mad blood witch or something, and the barrier that keeps the nation safe from outside attacks. Do you know about the Nightways and the barriers, visible shit in the sky? You may have not been there for that either. I explain it later. I will get Kasi to explain it.
There is no time. Let me sum up.
You can explain it later. There's all kinds of otherworldly shit happening, and the nation as a whole is currently in danger. That about sums it up. The capital city is a war zone. There are a few bands of militia, I guess you could call them, trying to fight off the Porte terrors and whatnot. But that about sums it up, really. Oh, and they've gotten smarter.
Kazi says it was truly harrowing. If you want a more detailed accounting, I can offer it sometime.
Then it's just like, fuck, oh, Kazi's still here. I thought he'd gone home. Hey, bud.
No, because he'd been there for everybody leaving because because he brought over like the more necklaces and stuff like that, and he was needed for the costuming. But he does have a stealth of 6, so him just sort of disappearing into the background and then
yeah. I'm sneaky, but not that sneaky.
He's the jump scare friend for sure.
And he probably wants.
Shit, when did you get here?
He probably wants his necklaces and everything back. He did say they were just being loaned for what we were using them for. So we should. No, so I thought he had some that he loaned as well as the ones that we had.
I think you all used your own. I think you had your own.
Oh, we had our own.
Yeah, I think we had enough.
We had one from fake Wilma Probst,
Four
and then
total.
you guys took 3 off of the strangers in Shrews.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, that's how we have them.
All right then. And so that's kind of where we're sitting now.
Yeah, so good evening. How have you been?
What's been up at you? Have you discovered a new Doom?
What's been up at you?
Kind of tired of being the one who discovers most of the Dooms. Not all of the Dooms, but most of the Dooms.
To the Tomodachi, like, what's up with Gerard Saint Germain?
Well, there was an attempted breakout from the jail. Everybody involved was slaughtered.
Oh.
So I have that to look into. Which reminds me, Luna. It is presumptuous of me to even ask this, but do you know how to get the blood out of parchment?
I don't know where this is in time. I don't know if I'm here.
Yeah, we'll assume that she's kind of gone up to the actual room to get some of Honorene's like writing supplies for plays and stuff like that, because it's the nearest location of paper and pen. So
Would I know?
There's possibly like an alchemical process or something. I don't think Runa is super familiar with it though. It's kind of more of like a scholarly potential thing, or potentially like a expert forger could probably do something like that.
I bet the Explorer Society lady would know. She seems like the type who could get some blood out of parchment.
I was gonna ask Geralt.
That's a good chance.
Way, but I don't know that way.
Tori to the rescue.
I am Vidachi, we can get blood out of anything.
We can also get blood out of everything. It's kind of a two-sided coin there.
They have to get the blood out after they get the blood on. It's a very bloody place.
Runa, because the 2 people who needed to know first know now, holding all the like paper and stuff. Shimei has the plague.
That's bad, but
He's
it's
gonna
better
be
than it would
quarantined
have been.
here.
Like,
Where
better
did
than
they
would have
go?
been a couple days ago.
I can sit with her.
If you would like to see them, come with me.
Yeah, who of us is immune now?
We.
Rosa, just Rosa.
Len
me.
hasn't got it because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
been flying. Well,
I did have it.
Len has just
Bruna
been
just
flying
has-
everywhere and not staying any place long enough to catch it. He's like,
Bruna has a
"Caw, here's your
pretty-
fucking letter. Caw."
Gerard has
Bruna
also
has-
fought off the plague, so
Runa has a pretty good a pretty goaded resolve, so hasn't gotten it yet, but she is covered in plague blood now.
Yeah, I am going to need a resolve roll from you as well.
Do you want that now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Oh,
Oh no!
Ooh.
Oh no.
Drama.
That was such a shit resolve roll.
Dramata.
you may spend a
I could've
drama die
used
to add
solitude.
one. You may spend a drama die to add one, which will get you to the 20, which will just avoid it.
Okay. I will do that.
Or you
guys-
can contract it and potentially overcome it. It's your choice. But as a master of your school, it's going to be a risky thing.
That's
Spend the
a
fucking
bit too
drama die.
spooky.
Just spend it.
Yeah.
Who do you think yes, I'm gonna spend the drama die.
We know who you are, and that's why we all
That's why I
said
said
spend
it.
the drama die.
Meanwhile, in the background, Honorine is hugging Shimei again, and Shimei's like,
That contracting the plague would affect Runa's ability to take care of people who have the plague.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Not
I
ideal.
just saw Len gets bird flu instead. It needed to be said.
Um, all right. So is there anybody who wants to go speak to Shimei like immediately? I know Honorine's staying down there.
Rose is probably gonna go down and let Honorine come up so that she doesn't catch it.
Gerard is going.
Okay. So I'm not concerned about Rosa because Rosa's contracted it, so she can hug, she can change bandages, she can do whatever's needed without any risk. I'm assuming Gerard is taking appropriate precautions that he's learned as far as distance and stuff like that.
Yeah, not only that, but you said Honorine had come down, so I'm going to stop to talk to Honorine first.
I think Honorine is in the room when he goes in,
Oh, okay.
and Rosa's kind of like,
Okay.
is she allowing Rosa to kick her out?
I just picture Rosa like hooking her finger in the back of Honorine's dress and just being like, "Let's do it anyway." Eventually, Honorine can be convinced. She does not. She doesn't want to. She's not.
You don't want this.
I mean, there's a lot we don't want. There's a lot we
See,
don't
but
want.
Shimei,
Don't
kind of
want
like-
this illness.
listen to your sister.
So I think I'm really sorry to do this because I try not to do this, but like I think Honorine is just like, okay, so she's just been through the Shrews thing. She's been steadily feeling the city like dying around her for ages. All of her friends are in danger. Rosa almost died. She's got stabbed. She's freshly out of the trauma of portaying, which in itself is like all of the ghosts of your past hitting you in the most sensitive spots.
She heard Thomas on both directions.
Yeah. And so I think she just like Gerard, as he's coming down, probably like, I'm so sorry, walks in on like honoring she's just like has had enough. Like she like flips, not like flips tables or whatever, but like it's very clear that it's just like this is it. Like she's just like, I don't care. I don't care if I get sick. I don't care what is happening. I don't care about Shrews, and I don't care about the other plague, and I don't care about what is happening with my freaking cousin. I don't care. I am not leaving this room until
She
I'm
says,
good and
I
ready.
need you to run the family if I die.
This would be the point that Gerard puts his hand gently on Honoring's shoulder.
I really don't care.
I'm not going to let her die.
What said
I'm here.
Honoring? You do care. The passion flows through you, who you are, Monique. The anger that you feel, the passion that you feel, shows how much you do care. Once again, Charlotte has drawn cease to cease blood. And I swear on my blade, it will be the last. But Senora Rosa needs to do hard work. And I cannot do what I do best if you get sick again, because it will draw my attention here when it needs to be elsewhere. I do not ask this to do with yourself. I ask you to do this for me, so I may do what I need to do and end this permanently.
And she's gonna kind of put like her arms around Gerard and like accept, used to do is hugging her, right? Like,
Mhm.
and she's going to like say very soft, like, this is just for Gerard. She's gonna say very, very quietly in his ear, like, I let her go. I could have let her die on that ship. And I let her go because I couldn't stand there and just let her die. But I
And
could have,
Gerard,
if she hurts
before her
anyone
next
else.
step, you let her go because you are honoring cease to cease. And for that, you have my admiration. For you did what no one else could bear to do. I will ensure that her newfound freedom is short-lived.
I will find her. Wait, I didn't hear this. Never mind. We're talking quietly to each other. Also, I think they both deserve a drama die.
Yeah, I'm gonna give one to
That
both of
was
you.
good.
I'm gonna give one to both of you.
And she's gonna say to Gerard, I'm so sorry. I should have ended it. You shouldn't have to go after her. And
Then you would
sorry.
honorary. Do not be sorry. Do not be sorry for being yourself. If you had done so, you would no longer be the honorary that I admire and love. Fate has put this on me, and I accept that fate. Go and rest.
And she lets herself finally like be taken upstairs and away. And
Len is actually waiting for her with a bottle of wine and some glasses, because he might not have been able to hear the quiet stuff, but he did hear the yelling. Honorine was not keeping her voice down.
I do want to ask if like all of the lanterns of the room kind of burned a little higher for a while, like throughout the whole building.
I don't think she's at that point, but I think that when she finally, like, when Gerard got her down, like, I think they all, like, kind of guttered a little bit.
Okay.
Well, that works. Either
Yeah.
way, Lynn's like, wine, glasses, and you probably actually need to stay somewhere near here for now because you might have, I know I'm not helping, but I also don't want you going home when you might be a vector.
Now, quick question. Who's in this room besides myself, Janine, and Rosa?
It's Jemay and Rosa and Gerard, and I think Jemay immediately like loops an arm around Rosa and squeezes her, like just appreciative of somebody to hug. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Rosa will lean into it.
And she kind of she says, "Will you accept the gift from me?"
Si, senora.
She kind of nods. And she looks up to Gerard afterwards and she says, "You have taken many contracts on behalf of my family, well beyond any requirement of your profession." She says, "Once you were who I would have chosen for Charlotte to marry, before I had the full measure of who she was." She says, "And I don't have," she says, "we are every bit as much gentry as you are now." She says, "But what we do have that your family does not is that we are united and we are together." And there's not much that can be said of the other gentry throughout Montaigne right now. She says, "I don't know what I can offer you in repayment," she says, "but I will make you this promise. For all that you've done for our family, there is a member of the Seiss du Seiss family who wishes to be wed to you. I will grant approval. They will take your name, or you are welcome to take ours. I would be honored to have you as a part of our family."
We'd be honored to be a sister sis, or I have no family name.
She smiles and she says, "I would happily give you ours."
And when the time is right, and when a member of Sister Sis asks you and asks me, we will see what arrangements need to be made. In the meantime, Mademoiselle Chanel, as I swore to Honorine, I swear to you, this is the last time that Charlotte draws Sister Sis blood. But I need a promise from you, from Honorine, and every other daughter of Sister Sis, that no one will partake anywhere near where Charlotte may be when I am not at their side.
I will pen a letter to the rest of my family.
Senora Rosa,
Si.
you have a glass jar with a good stopper.
Si, at my shop.
Then I ask this favor of you. When you change Mademoiselle's bandages, place the bloody bandages in the jar, seal it tight, and bring it to me.
Si, signore.
Merci.
And
Mademoiselle, I would give you a hug at this moment, but in an abundance of caution, I think that is not a wise idea.
she, in very Montaigne fashion, kisses the air like she would in a greeting if she was kind of like across the room from somebody. Does that make sense? uh, and and she smiles, and she kind of moves a little bit next to Rosa, and she stretches out, like, I'm thinking just like one of the little like wooden like lap desks, and she smooths out some paper on it. Um, and she starts to draw. She has like the kind of, like we talk about a Renaissance education, it always includes art amongst other things, right?
Yep.
And it's just a few pen strokes or the strokes of the pen in that Rosa realizes that what she's doing is designing a wedding dress.
Perhaps I should take my leave before Mademoiselle has me married before I get out the door.
She smiles. She says, I know that there are more than one member of my family with a crush on you, sir.
Understood, my lady, but I do
She
not wish
says,
any of them widows before they have a chance to become a bride.
um, she nods at that. Um, and she says, but you should go. She says, I might ask Rosa to disrobe to get the measurements properly.
And
Remember,
Rosa
I-
looks
Len
at you.
is somehow at the door.
As always, Mademoiselle, in my mind, on my lips, in my heart. And I turn and leave.
Um, and I think Shimei starts to like ask her about the things that she wants in her dress that represent where she's been, where she wishes to be. Um, I don't think there's the same traditions of like something gold and something blue, but it's along those lines. She wants the details of it to be Rosa's and Rosa's alone. And like while she has a vast knowledge of like Montaigne fashion, and she was kind of considered like one of the people that everyone looked to like design, like her fashions were copied by everybody else. Does that make sense? Like what she
Yep.
wore, 2 weeks later, everybody would have something akin to it. So there came with it a definite natural sense of beauty and everything. And now she's doing it in a way that isn't Montaigne at all. Does that make sense? It's not gaudy, it's not overly glamorous. She's looking for something that is timeless. And so there are elements of like both Vodacce and like Newman fashion in it, because that's like as timeless as you get, but also things that she wants to be particularly Rosa's, however Rosa chooses to express those, and make mention of them.
Mm-hmm. She does stop her halfway through. And is it all right if I call you Zia?
And then
Means
does that
aunt,
mean, go ahead.
aunt in Vodacce.
She nods. She says, you are a size to size in my heart.
I may never have your wit.
She kind of smiles at that, and she says, there have been plenty of times that I wish I did not.
I understand. And I will message you privately because
Sure.
my thought of the dress, Rose's thought for the dress is interesting.
Yeah, we'll figure out the exact details, but I'm very happy to have, that serve as a prize for Len and everything like that.
Yeah.
And she also, while she's there, kind of before getting everything necessary, like lay down and rest and stuff like that, she also draws another dress that's for Hannelore. that's for Rose to deliver. And kind of, she does want like some feedback of like, is this, you know, to your liking and stuff like that. It is profoundly the opposite of Rosa's. Very much is like, it's very Eisen. Does that make sense? In the sense of like that it's, you know, very clean lines and not like too much frills and stuff like that. But that she has included in the embroidery every single letter of the alphabet. Uh, without anybody who like, it's almost impossible to see unless you know it's there. And then it's like, oh, there's the there's the beat, there's the and after that is when she begins drafting like basically a living will while Rose is there. First and foremost, there are like multiple accounts that have been made inside of Vendel banks. And the information for them is to go to Honorine, and Honorine is designated publicly within them as her heir and the head of the Sice family if she dies.
And Rosa is listening and nodding. Every so often she will absolutely consult her cards, being like, is this the right path? Is this the right way?
And Jemay, you know, she very much accepts like whenever she kind of calls them that. And but there are like myriad other arrangements that she's making. There like one of the letters is for Rosa more immediately. Like there's going to be the gift of the dress. But the gift that she is giving to Len is going to be an amount of gilder, so that he can buy a house that's large enough for Rosa and Len to live together and have children in here in Freiburg. Like she specifically has money from the family account set aside for that. There are there is a and she's kind of going through and like writing something for everybody on the council. And Rosa is kind of there for all of it. I wanted to give that one specifically.
Mhm.
But the she's kind of, you know, when faced with the idea that she could die, she's acting under the assumption that she will. You know what I'm saying? And she kind of at one point she says, I don't know if I will survive or not. She says, and I want to. She says, but I know the only way I can fight with a clear mind is to know that my affairs are taken care of.
If this is what you need, you do it. I kept away from everyone. I don't remember much, but I do know, I believe Gav visited me. I believe there were others, but as long as you want it, you can fight for it.
She nods. She she pats Rose's cheek and then she leans up and she kisses her forehead. She says, I only very briefly had the opportunity to know Honorine's mother. She says, unless your mother. Says, and in that time, she says, I saw a lion of a woman who was willing to die fighting to keep any member of her family alive. Says, and I have never been a mother myself. She says, but I don't have to be to know that she would be incredibly proud of you.
Grazie, zia. My madre, from what I remember of her, she loved both Honorine and I.
Says I have some more things to write, but I think I should lay down for now.
Rest will help.
She nods. And she makes herself comfortable, and I think Alejandra is the one who kind of quietly brings in like bedding material and stuff and sets it up like just right there in the costume room. And
Does Rosa know if Alejandra has survived?
Alejandra has not, you know what I'm saying, but
Mhm.
she's kind of keeping a distance and stuff like that. And Rosa knows that she's got like medical training.
Okay.
So
Because if she didn't and she came too close, Rosa would be immediately like, nope, I'll take care of it. You go.
no, I think she mostly like sets up the bed and just kind of lets her know when it's ready and make sure there's some food by the side of it and stuff, and leaves Rosa to helping her over and stuff. So and lets her know she's gonna leave some like fresh, clean bandages like by the door.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rosa does not know anything about changing bandages or any health stuff.
and if Rosa looks a little like worried, Alejandra's like, I can guide you through the door or from the doorway.
Grazie.
So, but we'll cut away from there, and kind of I think Runa is coming down from all of that, kind of catching up with Chris and.
Before she comes up, because she probably has a lot of plague blood on her, or she has enough. It's probably soaked into her clothes. She's probably gonna stop by the costume room.
Well,
Just grab a couple.
that's where they're keeping her at the moment.
Well, before she leaves, then she quickly grabs a couple things. It's probably a bustier that's far too booby given where they are and what these costumes are for. And she grabs like a skirt or something like that, because by this point she has all of her runes, and that's a lot of her body.
And then just gonna go outside and take a quick river bath and change.
Well, she does change at least. Just until she can clean her clothes.
The so I think this is a good point to kind of transition to like some time passing. People have to kind of return to everything. There's some word that begins to trickle in.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna jokingly say, does Runa figure it out in this time?
It's up to you.
Or are they hiding it?
So I think there's been a degree of discretion about it that's just baked in. But yeah, they're absolutely like sharing a bedroom at least.
3-bedroom house.
I mean, we can definitely have a point at which Runa is fully gonna like walk in on the two of them in flagrante.
Runa's only response would be, "Oh, wait, okay." Like, huh? Okay, yeah. She's kind of just happy that they're happy.
But so more broadly, there's so I have not gone through the entire NPC roster and like figured out who's getting sick, et cetera, whatnot, but I did do like a big chunk of major characters. Does that make sense? Um, there are going to be quite a few people who get sick but recover without incident, and a few people who get seriously sick and recover. And there was one person who's going to get sick and doesn't recover, but before I do that, I want to kind of we had 3 free raises from Gerard and 3 free raises from Runa that were going to help casualty numbers. Does that make sense? So there's 2 ways to that I think that we can go about this. One of them is that I'm willing to have it act as like a hand of fate, that each of you can basically say this person's going to survive or not. Does that make sense? And it'll still be saved until later. Or it can generally reduce the numbers of casualties in different areas, which is going to lead to everybody in those areas having better chances. So you can either hand of fate and I'm going to save somebody, or you can kind of generally lower numbers.
Do we decide that now? Because I
wanna
do
know that
have my
now.
choice.
Okay.
I'm going to save the numbers.
Okay.
You gonna save the numbers, Steve?
Okay.
That felt like a game show. I'm sorry.
What are your choices, Gerard?
Save the numbers.
Runa's a doctor. She's gotta. It's in her soul.
So what I'm gonna do, you guys have enough. Do you want to focus on the numbers that are the largest groups that are in danger, or do you want to do them in the areas that you are close to and familiar with, such as Rod and Finer Hearth, or the city as a whole?
For Gerard, it would be the city as a whole.
Okay. Since some of this is going to be happening as sort of like playing out over time, what I can tell, if you want, I can tell you who is going to have the most number of infections, but that is not the same thing as the most number of fatalities. You guys will be basically reducing infections, and I will let you, and you're going to be doing it by like margins of percentages. Does that make sense? So even if you put all 6 of the races that you have into one area, you'd reduce the number of infections by 30%. Is that clear? And you can break that out into different percentages, but I can tell you
really bad at math.
It's roughly 5% per raise that we got.
yeah. Or
Okay.
and if you want it to be like a global reduction in casualties, just and call it that, then it's going to be about I think like a 4% reduction overall. If we just want to break it out that way, because that might be the easiest.
I think that works. I think that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
What do you think?
No, I agree on that, because
Cool.
if we go to any one particular section, as Gerard's concerned at that point is everybody who didn't get the help is going to look at them and well, why did they get help when we didn't? Whereas
Yeah.
if we try to help as many people as we can, it's more likely to be seen as exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the total casualties but I want to preface this with like, understand that an outbreak of the Black Plague in a large city in medieval times had a mortality rate of between 30 and 60%. And so I use that as a guideline for like how effective I wanted the White Plague to be, because it is a terrifying plague that changes populations. Let me just
I forget.
real quick.
From like an in-universe history standpoint, when was the last like massive sweep of White Plague? 100 years ago?
Brandy was a
You said?
bad.
No, it has continually popped up, but usually it gets sort of contained to small areas.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Um, so
So the last time it was a major plague was when?
so the last big plague hit up in Vendel around 10 years ago.
Okay.
But it was mostly contained within Vendel. It didn't really spread far beyond it. But that still
Okay.
was going to be, it was still in the midst of absolute strife and like the Vendel uprising against the Vestan and all kinds of.
would have been like continent-wide news anyways.
Okay. So with the help from what they have managed to accomplish, there were 446,000 infections in a city of 800,000. With the, I need to do the math because the 4% is going to change things. So,
Math.
there are 92,640 deaths that are spread across a population of 800,000. That comes out to 12%, meaning that this is one of the most successful plague responses in the history of Thea, especially for a city of this size. That doesn't mean
Nice.
it's not devastating, right? Because it's still 12%.
Yeah.
But it
But,
does
like,
mean that as far as
helped.
like enormously,
That's the
enormously.
population of a medium-sized city. Like 90,000? That's my hometown. And my hometown's pretty big for BC.
Yeah, it's huge.
Mhm.
So because it's disparity between wealth, I'm going to talk real quick just about how I kind of did this. Wealth provides some insulation because it provides people more space and less like need to cross over and meet people. Does that make sense? However, wealth is countermanded by the criminality of a district. So certain districts that had really high crime ratings, and high wealth, their crime basically outpaced their wealth because the criminal people were going porously through borders and spreading along the way. Does that make sense? So they weren't inclined to like follow the bridges. The city is filled with smugglers, etc. Right? At this particular time, that was to their detriment. So areas that had really low crime ratings and high wealth fared the best overall. Secondarily, the security and safety led to effective isolations after areas were infected. Does that make sense? So that caused a reduction in mortality in all of those groups. So the areas that were most secure also had the best resistance. Fine or hard being one of the most dense and least wealthy and least secure areas long before Girard got there. Like, did get hit hard, but it did fairly well comparatively for its disadvantages. Der Spielplatz having very high security, very high wealth, very low criminal, and then the other thing is the occult influence reflecting sort of the magic amount going through. I used as a penalty for mortality because White Plague is particularly attracted to sorcerers and the like. So I use that as just a general reflection of there's more magic in this area. So White Plague hit harder. The playground only lost 3% of its population in total, as opposed to the global 12% of the city at large.
Which that's where the academy is.
Yes. And some of that is definitely going to be attributable to the fact that they were like, Honorine and Runa were like leading the charge for like, this is what you need to do to save people. And Brutsman listened and enacted it and did it even to the dismay and irritation of his teenage charges.
And their families.
Especially Runa and Honorine telling him, I feel like.
The Drakennest. The Drakennest under, which is primarily like artists and like religious folks and stuff like that, both of whom live in communities, did not do very well. They had a 15% loss overall, and kept kind of continually organizing community responses to things, which furthered the spread.
Sweet, sweet
And
people.
this is where the shipyard is, and this is where Runa's house is, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
One of the
And the
people that
shouting
is
square.
no, the shouting square isn't
That's-
down in Finer Heart.
Okay.
One of the people that is ill and critically so in the drunkenness is Jarrus. And Runa is going to get word that he's ill and badly so from his sister.
Is that Meat Mountain?
Meat
What's
Mountain.
that?
Okay.
Yeah. Finer Heart had 18% losses overall. But given that it's one of the densest districts with one of the worst like security and safety ratings, that's very good for where they were at. Flucifer,
Having the tree helped, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Flucifer being large and fairly wealthy was doing all right until its criminal influence factored in, and then shot them in the knee. And it came in at 13%.
And that's
Carrot
where
Wall,
Honoring's house is, right? That's where all of Waldo's
Yes.
houses are.
Mhm.
yes. Carrot Wall, oh, by the way, I rolled for Waldo's survival and he rolled a 100, so I was like, oh, he had White Plague before.
Clearly.
Damn.
He was just like,
Did
so
he even
Carrot,
know he had white plague?
It's his tramp stamp.
he just had to take care of everybody in his houses, okay? Carrot Wall has 4%. The Steindeweisen, which is the wealthiest district, had 6%, which was significantly like double that of Der Spielplatz because they lacked this like enforcement arm of we're rich, we don't listen to anybody. Steinholt in the center with all of the military fortifications and everything was the best off at 2%. They just locked down and did it right. Didn't breach protocol and set an example to everybody. And Verzweiflung it came in at 25%. 1 in 4 died out there. And that's after significant contributions. Montague's troops, the last kind of unit of population, lost 13%.
That's better than I expected.
And so over the course of weeks, there's constant sort of like candles being extinguished. There's a routine of like removing bodies, burning them, making, you know, the bells of the cathedral toll near every hour. You know what I'm saying? Just to sort of keeping time, keeping something. Well, they toll every hour just to keep time, but it also becomes just sort of like a memento to the number that have died. It rings over a very, very quiet city in the heart of winter. And there's constant work being done in the form of removing the bodies of the dead. There's no space for burials. There's no space to bury 12% of the population of the city. And there's a lot of time during this that you guys are going to like have to yourselves, have with your friends and your family, since the council is kind of at this point, I think, lodging near together, if not directly so. Taking
Gav's
care
the
of
only
their
one
own
who
sick.
really takes the Gav's the only one who really takes the trip because he's not gonna let Hannelore out in something like this, not with twins.
Hannelore is fine through all of this. I did roll for her. She never contracts anything.
I think it would have been over for you if anything happened to her.
It's me coming through the wall.
Like the Kool-Aid man?
Ettore is amongst those who are critically ill as well.
That guy has the worst luck.
Poor guy.
Truly.
And he is amongst those who does pull through. So Itori and Jame, I both rolled into them in the section of like, much like Rosa, they were going to contract it badly and survive and like lose an attribute point but gain one somewhere else. Does that make sense? Jame and Itori are both that bad off. Like they're both very ill through this process. And I assume that it is probably Honoring who does a lot of the sort of checking in on him, along with Anjay.
Yeah.
Um,
Just gonna stand there and yell at him from the door.
The I want a. I'll let you take your pick of investigation skill, but a wits roll.
From
Honoring
oh,
in regards to Itori.
What other shisty shit has he been up to?
so a wits roll you said?
Yes.
Okay. Is it something I can use something else for?
Well, it's
Criminal,
wits plus your
commoner,
choice. Criminal
scholar?
definitely works in regards to investigating Itori. Think commoner and noble. He has like some of all of those, but criminal is definitely probably the most appropriate of this particular one.
Okay. Because if it's noble, I'm gonna do that instead, or scholar, because those are higher than criminal. But if it's criminal, I can use criminal. Can
Good.
Can I use scholar
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I'll let you
investigate?
use it in this case.
Okay. So wits and scholar. I just looked at my wits score and it already went out of my head. Head empty. I don't have the brain
I
cells
believe you have a
today.
5.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all could hear my kitty meowing for attention.
53.
Ugh.
I investigated the shit out of Itori.
The
Rage
withering sight
investigate.
to sight stare.
Guess that's one way to clear his constipation.
So
Ew. I'm taking you off the overlay.
So the thing that she finds in the middle of kind of as she's going through everything, kind of, I think she doesn't just stay through a door. She kind of has to go into his place to do some tending of him, bring him some medicines. You know what I'm saying? Probably also asked him about, like, do you know how to get blood out of a letter? And he said no, he didn't. But if the person who wrote it wrote hard enough, you can sometimes get the indentation from the pen off by tracing it lightly with charcoal, etc. And it's kind of like after he said that, she goes over to his desk, and she sees that like on his own sheaf of papers, there is a letter that has been tucked away, just inside of his desk. Like, it looks like he was trying to hide it in like maybe a secret compartment or something like that, but was already getting sick enough that like his reactions are off. You know what I'm saying? His normal wile might be a little bit dulled. And
We're definitely on the lookout for people who are trying to finish him off, by the way. Like if somebody's
yeah,
like, if somebody, because he definitely has people who want him dead.
the uh and the letter, when she picks it up and like opens it, uh, she can see that like it's completely written in a cipher, such that she's expecting it's probably coming from some Vidachi who works for him or he works for. Does that make sense? Um, he's out of it enough that if she wanted to, she could trace it and try to decode it. And if she thinks that's too much of like a breach of trust, then that's fine.
I think when she finds it, she's going to kind of like, because you said Anjay is there with her, right?
I think I think Anjay probably they've both like circled in a few times, like helping him out, you know what I'm saying, making sure he has food, etc. Since he lives alone.
Yeah, so I think when she's there, she's just sort of like kind of does like one of these to Anjay and like
Um, and
because Anjay has
she
known him longer, so I feel like Anjay will have a better idea of like, he expects it.
and she kind of she kind of like nibbles on her lip and she looks thoughtful. Um, she says, I wonder if it has something to do with whoever has tried to kill him.
Yeah, she's gonna trace it. She's gonna try to decode it.
Okay. So I'm gonna have that 50 be the scholar roll from like actually like doing cipher stuff later. It takes a while to crack. It is a complicated cipher. And when she cracks it, what she realizes is that it is the body of the message says that when they had arrived at the port, the person they were there to free had already been freed. And any leverage from returning them to the council had been lost. It was not a total loss, as they were able to learn more about the source of Kiradin's immortality. And then it says, be careful, my friend. Mondavi is still looking for you.
Um, so I think she actually kind of studies it. Like I think she put the original like back where she found it.
Okay.
And I mean, I feel like, you know, even though it's a difficult cipher, like never underestimate like the power of somebody who like is very smart, has a lot of time and needs a distraction. So I think she's going to kind of post up where Ettore is, like not like exactly like at his bedside, but I think she spends a lot of time like watching over him and kind of making sure that if somebody does show up, they'll at least have some resistance.
Um, and there's nobody that shows in the middle of the plague.
Oh, they don't want to risk their own life when they're cowardly killing somebody else?
Um, And whatever, not of worry that she has about Tori during this time, nobody shows. But I want to cut over to Runa. We've got about 15 minutes left, just as a warning.
More like
Did you say
5.
5?
Yeah.
Oh, because we started a little bit late, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jairus' sister appears at her house, and she says, "Jairus is asking for you."
She's gonna go with Shira.
In the moment she comes into his room, she knows why she's there. He's always been like a mountain of a man, and he looks like a skeleton. He just looks incredibly thin. The plague has run its course, and it's probably destroyed enough organs that if he were to somehow shake it off at this point, he'd still probably live months. Does that make sense?
So he's gonna die.
Yeah, and when he meets Runa's gaze, she can tell that he knows that. He's made his peace with it. And he kind of, he gestures to the chair that's near the bed. He says, "Not too close."
She nods and sits in the chair. What she really wants to do is sit at his bedside, grab his hand.
And
Because she knows he's scared. That dying's a scary thing, and she's worried. She just found out, she just found out she hasn't had the time to process.
he says, "I'm no warrior." He says, "But tell me what Valhalla is like."
Oh. He doesn't want to lie to him. However, can I tell you 2 realities and you can decide which one's true? Well, 2 possible realities.
He says, "I don't even know if I'm going there."
Well, you will be remembered. As you were loved. So wherever you go, there will be that.
He nods. He says, "I know you have a beauty of a ship." Says, "Better than anything that I could make for you."
Your ships are pretty good.
Says, "The first one
They're
sank."
Well, maybe you were having an off day.
He reaches out just enough to kind of brush her forearm. He's not making skin to skin contact. It's clear that it's an effort to do even that. He says, "I don't think I'll make it to Valhalla." He says, "I have not been much for fighting. I don't have it in my blood." He says, but wherever I go, I hope I see you there someday.
I hope it's beautiful.
And he smiles at that. I never quite had the nerve to sail and see new sights. Says to spend life on a boat as much as I enjoyed making them. Says when I'm gone, says what's left of me. Says burn me down. Says but what's left of me. Says when you find a new vista, it says a new land, something you've never seen before. Says and it moves your heart. Leave me there.
It's done. Then it's done.
He nods.
You have my word.
Says keep an eye on my sister.
I will. And Sora's probably going to be watching her like a hawk. She won't be alone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And he closes his eyes. And they don't reopen.
She's gonna grab his hand. Kiss him on the forehead. And then she's she's gonna walk out to Jira. And Jira probably doesn't need her to say it. She can probably tell by the tears streaming down Runa's face.
Yeah. Jera starts crying, but like immediately just wraps herself in Runa.
Runa hugs her so tight. And I assume that the two of them are probably crying together for a little while.
I think there's no better place that I can drop the curtain than right there. It's just the grief spilling out of them.
They probably sink
Bastard.
to the floor. They probably sink to the floor and probably just on the ground, sharing their pain.
Yeah. She doesn't stop crying for a long time, and I don't think she doesn't really have anything to say. Like
Neither
it
does
just
Runa. I think they're just there together. And just like the two of them, just neither of them letting the other be alone in the moment.
Yeah.
And probably earlier on, she would have like tried to piece together words and just let Jira know what his final wishes were.
Yeah. I think that probably comes. I think she just keeps Runa there over the night, and like those kind of things happen in the morning. But like,
yeah, she
it's-
says it at some point. Like she does let her know.
yeah. So
I'm gonna ask Cinder to give you the biggest fucking wedgie.
Um, I am gonna drop the curtain there. I do want RP awards.
Runa,
Runa?
and I'll fight anyone who says otherwise.
Yep, this is true.
And
I'd like
Hans
a
and
second
Honorine
one.
already got some.
It was
Or no,
Gerard and
no,
Honorine.
Gerard and Honorine got some.
Did Hans
I
even
didn't do
say
sh-
like 5
I-
words this
Yeah.
I didn't do
session?
shit, dude.
This
What
was
are you talking
dude,
about?
this was like, I'm sorry, this was the
Rosa.
quietest episode for Gavin, Hans, and Len.
No,
Throw
good. If you had made me say any more than that, we'd have fucking problems. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. The other one would be for, I think, Rosa for her time with Jemay.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
That was good stuff.
And thank you. Like somebody said Dramedy when I was in the middle of trying to like do the thing, and I was like, I can't say thank you right now, or I'm gonna get sidetracked.
No, it's good. I needed, there was a break and I needed that to happen.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna read us out. So thank you everyone for watching us on YouTube or live on Twitch. Audience participation always means the world to us. If you're on YouTube, smash the like, hit the subscribe, make a comment in the down below. Here at Dirty 20, we always send out the same call to action. Be nice. Be kind when you have the spoons, but even when you're not, be nice. Be nice to strangers, be nice to family, be nice to your loved ones, and be nice to yourself. Thank you for coming on this journey with us, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Night, y'all.